Okay, so good morning, everyone. We welcome you to the new season of our seminar series running from August to December 2024. So this event is brought to you by the Ateneo Department of Economics and Ateneo Center for Economic Research and Development, or ASERD. We are excited to have you with us as we embark on another round of engaging and impactful discussions. For today, we will have a 40-minute presentation followed by a 20-minute question and answer, providing ample opportunity for in-depth discussion. Today's presentation, titled The Stigma of In-Home Death, Impact on Housing Prices and Rents in the Tokyo Metropolitan Area, examines the influence of death incidents on property prices and rents in the Tokyo Metropolitan Area, employing a staggered difference in differences approach. This study reveals that in-home deaths lead to a significant 5% reduction in the sale prices for properties within the same building, while the impact on rents is minimal. This differential outcome is attributed to buyers being more informed than renters about such incidents before entering into contracts. The study further explores the heterogeneity of this impact, noting that it intensifies in housing markets with low demand, high vacancy rates, and adverse conditions, such as high murder rates or during off seasons. Deaths associated with murder occurring during summer or in older properties amplify this effect. The speaker for today is Dr. Naonari Yajima, an assistant professor at Seijo University, Japan, and has an extensive background in environmental and urban economics, with a particular focus on the negative externalities associated with stigmatized properties and vacant housing in urban environments. Holding a BA in economics from Takasaki-City University of Economics and an MA and Ph.D. in economics from Waseda University, Dr. Yajima has previously held a position at Waseda University. His research is heavily oriented towards understanding the impacts of cultural perceptions of death on the housing markets, particularly within the context of Japan. So we are pleased to introduce Dr. Yajima. Sir, you have the floor. Dr. Yajima, you are currently on mute.
Sorry, I'm muted. Can you hear? Can I start my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone. I'm now Yajima from Seijo University, Tokyo, Japan. So thank you for coming today. I'm honored to have the opportunity to present my ongoing research. So this is a study of the impact of superstition on housing choices. This issue may not be very familiar outside of Japan, but I would appreciate so your any opinions. Here is today's outlines. So, to begin, I'd like to introduce the main highlights of this studies. So this investigates the negative externality of human deaths in the property. So we called in-home death in these studies on both sales and rent price using the Tokyo Metropolitan Area data. So we revealed that the in-home death caused approximately 5% reductions in selling price. And so we also find that this effect is persistent over time.
Would you like to share your screen, Dr. Yajima?
So can you so list it again?
Would you like to share your PowerPoint decks, Dr. Yajima, or we can do it for you?
So I sent it the PDF version of my presentation slide via chat.
Okay, we can do it for you.
Thank you. Can I continue?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So So to begin, so we'd like to introduce a brief introduction of motivation of these studies. So as we know, so in recent years, we have so many scientific achievement. However, uh, we also have so many superstitions in around our uh, living lives. And we know that so many number of superstitions, such as the lucky numbers or unlucky numbers, are persistent, are persisted in the present eras. And so I want to introduce a simple example focusing on lucky numbers or unlucky numbers in the impact of superstitions in social or economic behaviors. So several studies find that the lucky or unlucky numbers influence our behaviors in various countries, like such as Italy or China or Denmark. Looking at the housing choices behaviors, so several studies also find that when the room numbers includes the unlucky numbers, then the rent price or sale price of these rooms can be decreased. So these phenomena are also found in various countries, such as Canada or China. So in these studies, we focus on the concept of ghost. So in other words, so we investigate the effects of in-home death on property prices. One reason, so we focus on the effect of in-home death in housing environment. So there is an increased trend in the number of solitary deaths in Japan. So this graph shows the trend in the number of solitary deaths in Japan from 2003 to 2020s. So in particular, so these numbers are relatively higher among elderly households. We expect that so it become a major social issues in other countries with aging populations. And in-home deaths can cause externality issues because renters or buyers may not want to purchase or lease a property with an in-home death. So if so, it is necessary to reveal so how severe the effect of the in-home death and whether or not this effect is persistent. So this effect can have a spillover effect on other floors or other properties or other buildings. And these issues, income this issue, contains the information asymmetry issues because so if the discount by income death is possible and the size of the discount is unclear, So dealers may not want to tell past incident. However, the renters or buyers may not recognize all incidents. So particularly in Japan, sometimes the renters or buyers come to court, and it causes a significant social cost. Moreover, the landlords have to pay additional costs to clean up the property with the income death. So they have a strong incentive to avoid selling or leasing a property to elder persons. The concept of ghost is often treated as a uh, uh, this concept is often treated as onerous, particularly in Asian countries. It comes from various cultures such as Hinduism or Chinese beliefs. In Western countries, so we find that several surveys conducted in the US, the major American respondents also believes the concept that the place can be haunted by spirit. So how about the concept of ghost in Japan? Most relevant culture is called Shintos. Shinto integrates the religious practice with cultural attributes, one which is the concept of kegare, or impurity in English. So Shinto speaks that the death is the greatest source of this impurity. Shinto also speaks that the where everything is believed to possess the spirit. So and and Shinto also say that impurity is a thought to bring a spiritual bad luck. So it implies that the places or objects connected to death can be spiritually harmful. Then the people may not want to live in such a not good places. In Japan, a ghost who possesses an estate or land, it is called earthbound spirit. So jibakure in Japanese. So this slide showed popular earthbound spirit in Japan. It's called Samara in English and Sadako in Japanese from the movie The Ring. So finally, I would like to talk about the relationships between the ghost or in-home death and Japan's current real estate laws. So under the current laws, the dealers must notice buyers or renters any matters such as noise or pollutions that could influence the renters or buyers' decisions. So under the current laws, what about the in-home death? So it should be noticed, but so far there is no clear obligations. So which means, so which kind of incidents should be noticed? So how far back in time should be noticed? is it necessary to notice about the incident occurred in other floors, for example, the next to the rooms? Everything is unclear. So general practices, which means the unwritten laws in terms of the how to deal with these issues inform this. So dealers should notice renters or buyers when the case in the case of the contract. So for the unit, so where incident occurred, but so the dealers do not necessarily to notice whether or not the incident occurred in next room or other floors or any other rooms. And so no disclosures, disclose is not necessary for solitary or natural deaths. So however, such a practices are not based on any scientific evidences. So for us, the study on the externality of how income deaths is very limited, but so we can we can find a several literatures mainly in China or Hong Kong. So in these studies, so we use the our main data sources is from two data sets. One data set is in terms of income death data. So we use the oceanland.com. So it is the online platform to disclose the information on income deaths contributed by the public. So this website provides the detailed information, so where incident occurred or date. And another data set is a transaction data called lanes. So it is a third-party level data for both sale and rents. So this slide showed a snapshot of oceanland.com. So these websites have been available from 2005. So far, there are around 70,000 postings, at least in Japan. So each fire symbols implies the location of each incident. So when we click the each fire symbols, then so we can see the detailed information of each incident. So including the cause of the death or date of death and the detailed address of the incident occurred. So this website mainly for Japan, but so I uh, but so we can see the several uh, postings on outside of Japan. So we find that there are several informed death incidents around Quezon City or Makati. And so we find that the posting data, in posting data, it looks like that there's no spatial bias, which means that the number of deaths in the municipality in Japan, a number of postings looks like they are on linear relationship. Ho and however, uh, the number of incident, posted incidents are varied among the incident types. So, which means, so for example, for murder or fire deaths, we find that around 60% of the official reported numbers are covered by the posting. However, for suicide, only 10 or 20% of the officially reported numbers are covered by the postings. And we find that only 1% of the officially reported number of solitary deaths are covered by the posting in Tokyo. So can I skip the matching process? So it is a little bit complicated part. And I would like to also skip the summary statistics. So in these papers, so we use a kind of DID approach. So we have several issues to estimate the causal impact of income deaths on property prices, because the timing of the occurrence of income deaths can be varied among properties. So under such situations, conventional DID doesn't work. So in these papers, so we use the latest DID method proposed by Sun and Abraham 2021. So this method is robust to such situations. So the equations looks like a little bit complicated, but so to sum up, this equation implies, so we estimate the change in the impact of income death on property prices for each year after the incident. So in these papers, so we estimate the impact of income death on property prices from the following four perspectives. So I will explain the detail later. The first estimations focusing on the impact of income deaths on whole property prices, which means, so we assume that all properties within the building J, property I with income deaths can be affected after the occurrence of the income death. So these slides show the brief summary of our estimation result. So the period t equal to 0 implies the occurrence, a period of occurrence. And so the reference point is t minus 1. So we find that approximately 5% reduction in sale prices after the incident. And so this impact is persistent over time, but there is no significant impact on rent prices. The second estimations focused on the spillover effect from the rooms with the income deficits to other rooms in the same floors as so other rooms in the another floors. So in these estimations, we excluded the samples the property located in the same floors property with the income dislocated. So we also find a statistically significant and negative impact on sale prices in other floors. But there is also no impact on rent prices. And third estimations focus on the impact of income deaths on the property price, it is property prices. We call the direct effect. So in this analysis, so we only use the data set, the sample with the income death after the incident. So we also find that statistically significant and negative impact on sale prices. And fourth estimations, the purpose of the fourth estimations is to investigate the impact of misinformations because some landlords may post misinformation to reduce the price of their competitors. But currently, there is no significant impact of the misinformation on both the sale and rent prices. So which means that the buyers or renters may properly check the details of posted information and they detected whether or not this information is wrong. So here is the brief summary of our main estimation result. So we find out the occurrence of the So one interpretation of this estimation result is that so there are maybe there may be exists a difference in awareness between buyers or renters because the landlords under current unwritten practice, landlords do not necessarily to disclose the incident information on incident occurrence in other properties. So we interpret that compared with the renters, the buyers may be more aware of the income death occurrence in the buildings, so into which they move. And so we also find that there are immediate surge in the rental transactions within the building following this incident. So it is another evidence that renters don't mind the occurrence of income deaths, so new renters likely to move in without being aware of the incident. And so we conducted several additional analysis to reveal the mechanism of the impact of income deaths, focusing on property prices. So first of all, so there is no statistically significant difference among the spillover effect. So there's not depends on uh, the so it not depends on the distance to the property with our income deaths. So the impact of the income deaths can be varied over seasons. And we also find that the impact of income deaths is the highest in the murder case. And the impact of income deaths can be higher in summer season. It's, so one interpretation is that the death occurred in summer brings the more severe damage, so they have to additional cost to clean up. And so among the regions with a higher murder rate, so the impact of the income deaths is more severe. So I will skip this slide. So here is the brief conclusion of our estimation result. So utilizing the data set, using the unique data set, so from the online platform, Oshima Land, so we analyzed the impact of income deaths on housing price and rent. So we find that the differential impact, so in other words, so impact of the income deaths is more severe in sale prices. The renters so may do not mind the occurrence of the income death. And this effect can be varied by various characteristics of the regions, the buildings, and incident. So one important policy implication in Japan, the current guideline, unwritten law of the disclosure is not sufficient, so it's necessary to cover the possibility of spillover effect from a property with an incident to other floors. So my presentation is end. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Yajima, for the very enlightening presentation. Now we are opening the floor for possible questions and clarifications to Dr. Yajima's presentation. Do we have anyone? Please raise your hands if you want to ask questions, or you can also type your questions in our chat. Okay, so I can go first, Dr. Yajima.
Ah,
My question
yes, please.
is, you have discussed the higher premium for or 1 to 2% increase in rent for those solitary
Mm,
elderly people seeking to rent unit. Don't you think
mhm.
that the increase in price or rental prices, this 1 to 2%, perpetuates elderly poverty or homelessness in Japan?
Thank you for the questions. Uh, at least, so in our estimations, we do not have any significant impact in rent prices. I want to lease. So, but at least so we cannot say anything so about the impact of informal death in rent prices. So it looks like no impact. So and so new renters, the renters immediately so live in after the incident. Uh, So actually, it's a little bit difficult to interpret.
Mhm. Thank you, Dr. Yajima. It is quite understandable, but I must commend you and Dr. Niwa for your work. It's such a very interesting and enlightening study. And most of all, it's quite very timely regarding your policy recommendations for the proper disclosure to potential tenants. So now, do we have other questions from the audience? Please do raise your hands if you have some questions for Dr. Yajima and Dr. Miwa. Yes, we do have Dr. De Guzman for questions. Yes, sir.
Hi, Dr. Yajima. No? I'm just curious. First of all, your presentation is very interesting. It's
Thank you.
very novel. No? It's something that we don't normally expect in an economics presentation. So thank you very much. My question is,
Mhm.
what explains the different reaction of buyers and renters? Can you further elaborate why price does not decline so much for renters? Is there like a different, let's say, decision rule or optimization process going on between buyers and renters? So can you provide us some more explanation of the difference, why there is a difference? Thank you very much.
Thank you for the questions. It is very critical point. Uh, well, actually, for renters, the main, I guess that the main purpose of a lease, a property for renters is, for example, that someone graduate the graduates the universities and they so have a job, they get a job and they have to move so from their countryside to cities. Then actually that so they cannot uh so how to say so their main preference is so finding a place to they live and if the property has some so if they feel that some negative impression after they moved in, so they can easily to find another another properties. But for buyers, so when they purchase the property and they moved in, so they could not, or very difficult, a very big decision. I mean, so they have to sell their property again, and they have to purchase another property with very huge prices. Actually, that is a reason, one reason why. So buyers are very, very aware of the occurrence of the income death, and but renters may not mind. Actually, but this is just my guess. So because I never purchased properties. But anyway, so if I have no time to choose optimal housing for me, so I may choose a property with income death. Thank you. I'm not sure it is correct answer or not.
Thank you for that, Dr. Yajima. We receive a question from the audience from Mr. Joel Duque. So the question is, given the increasing number of solitary deaths in Japan, is there a need to update the laws and related regulations?
Currently, no up. In my knowledge, currently no updated in any laws focusing on the solitary deaths. I think so. Then maybe politicians still discussing so how to deal with the problem.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Yajima. But perhaps your study will push definitely that we probably need regulations for this. We have another question from an anonymous viewer. Would you consider this issue to be common knowledge? Do you think that the renters will start to complain about the price if it is a common knowledge?
Sorry, so can I, so could you
Sure.
could you elaborate the questions?
The audience was asking if this issue about death and the premium or the decrease in rent, is it a common knowledge in Japan? Or do you think that renters or potential renters will start complaining if they know that some places ask for cheaper rent because of the history of that place?
Thank you. So can I going back to the slide number? Plus number 22. So I'm really sorry that so I skipped the explanation about these figures. So this figure implies the number of searched as the word Oshima land on the Google in Japan. So this graph implies that so the Oshima land, a platform to disclose the location of the income deaths, being populous in recent. So actually, at least in Japan, the issues of income deaths in maybe both in buying and purchasing and renting becoming popular, and so some people so may aware of the occurrence of the incident, then I guess that the number of complaining from the renters or buyers also can be increased in the futures, in near the futures.
Okay, thank you for that, Dr. Yajima. We have one final question from Mr. Genesis Lontok. For the in-home death numbers in the study, were you able to get the split between the two genders?
Which means so the, whether or not we differentiate the characteristics of the in-home death by genders. Actually, I think it is a little bit difficult. So because it looks like that on the oshimana.com. So the users, they just mentioned suicide occurred or suicidal death occurred. So there is no additional informations. But sometimes, especially in the case of murders, so it is possible to detect. So I will recheck my data set later. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yajima. Now we have a final question from Miss Bevs Cruz. How do the additional costs associated with cleaning up a property after an in-home death influence the landlord's decision when considering leasing to elderly tenants?
Thank you for questions. I think that the main cost for a landlord or dealers, so regarding the occurrence of in-home deaths, so it's that I think the major cost is a cleanup cost, and so it may be possible that so they have to invest in some kind of securities, so to avoid uh, any additional occurrence of income death, such as the murders, or maybe so they have to uh, so they have to uh, introduce some kind of monitoring. So I mean that, or it looks like that. So in these properties, so it looks like that nobody enters or nobody moved out. So maybe some person who can be so died in the properties. So I think so it is a possible additional cost. So they have to invest in security or monitoring after the occurrence of the informed assets to and so to avoid so any incident in the future.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Yajima. And I also like to add that I think Dr. Yajima discussed earlier that there is a 1 to 2% increase in premium if elderly population decides to rent a unit. Well, anyway, that is the end of our presentation. We would like to thank our presenter, Dr. Yajima, and Dr. Miwa for their wonderful and extremely interesting presentation for today. We'll have Okay, so we would like to ask you to visit the website for materials from the previous seminars. You can see that in our websites here. And of course, the previous seminar series videos can be found in the Ateneo de Manila University's YouTube page with the playlist titled Economics Seminar Series. For those who are requesting for certificate, links can be found on the chat box. So please answer immediately as it is only open for 2 hours after the session. Would like to thank Possible. So we'd like to thank Ms. Dani Andres, Mr. Kenneth Arnonobal, and Mr. Rodel Crisostomo for all their help in making this possible. Lastly, we would like to ask everyone, for our online participants, to please open their screens for a photo opportunity.
Hi everyone, I'll be taking the photo, so if you could all please turn on your cameras. Oh, give me just a few. Okay, I'll give around 3 more seconds for everyone else to turn on their cameras. And if you can't turn on your cameras, that's okay. You can just do a quick zoom react. So I'll taking the first photo in 3, 2, 1. All smiles, please. Okay, taking the second photo so you can do another zoom react in 3, 2, 1. That's it. Thank you, Doc Bear. Passing it back to you, po.
All right, so that ends our wonderful presentation for today. Again, we would like to thank our presenters, Dr. Yajima and Dr. Miwa, for all those who participated for today's online session. Thank you very much. And we are looking to see you again for the rest of our seminar series until December 24, 2024. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day and stay safe. Thank you.